All right, and we're talking about movement. We're still talking about movement. It's as if no time has gone by at all, and here we are talking about movement. So you add your gravitational factors together, and that gets you to where you want to go. That lands you on the place. There are certain places you can't actually land at, like these Lagrange points. You can still build on them, but you don't land on them. Notice how the planets and the moons have boxes. These boxes are exploration boxes, and that's what you must explore after you've landed in order to build something. So you build, you explore, which could generate immediate benefits potentially, and then you decide what you want to build depending on what you found there. If somebody else builds on a place that you've explored, you get some benefits from that. And then finally, on the movement, say for example, you had built a spaceport here, and I had a team there. At the end of my turn, I could slingshot my remaining team up to the spaceport. So there is a big advantage in doing that. Now, if somebody else uses your spaceport or borrows the use of your infrastructure, you get to draw a card from the deck, only from the deck, every time that happens. Just an example, here's an exploration counter. So this is an E1. The higher the number, the better. E2 would be better. E3 is even better. This yields abundant ores. It has a production of 0, but if you were to put a factory on here, a refinery, you would make that production 1, which is a way to generate victory points. And it costs you 2 less in this case to build a base on this location. Some places are very difficult to build on between the planet and what you found, and you'll need a high production card number to do that. But we can talk about that later.
Because, clarification, you can only build on an explored place, right?
Yes, exactly. You must explore first.
But you can build here too, can't you?
You can build a certain specific thing. I think a spaceport only. Yes.
Okay.
All right. What else can we show you that would make... Oh, yeah, the cards. So one thing that I love about this game is how easy it is to read these cards. I mean, they are easy. You can see them across the board. So you'll be able to easily see what everybody has on their infrastructure board. As I explained before, you start out with just what you have here. You'll also get a card that basically, it's called a time card. Let's see if I can find one. You got some over here? Here you go. You'll get one of these where you can basically create sort of a wormhole and double an action's total value. Very useful. And this is a typical kind of card that you might get. The little moon in the corner indicates it's the first era, the Mariner era. It would allow you to either move to or to build to. Some cards let you upgrade your infrastructure, like this, may upgrade as infra. I could actually put that here and add that to my move total. This is an example of a produce card. So producing is how you actually get things out of your bases and turn them into victory points. But that's great, yes. The Explorer obviously makes it easier to explore places that are progressively harder to explore. And that's pretty much it for the base game. You'll notice that on this map, there are 2 sort of exit points. If you are the first to exit, you'll get a slight advantage in the next era. If you're the second to exit, you'll get a slightly less, but still somewhat of an advantage. The disadvantage is that for this era, they are no longer in the game, and you can no longer use them. But they will be handy going into the next era. Oh, yes. It won't really matter very much in the first era, but in the second era and the third era, research into genetics and into revelations, I believe they're called, get you increases movement on this little track here. And once you come all the way around the track, thanks to the use of these cards, you'll be able to draw from a wide variety of improvements. Some of them are genetic improvements. Some of them are hardware science improvements. They're really good, so you'll want to be able to do that. And again, that won't come into play in the first era very much. There are a wide number of things to build, but it depends on where you are, where you could build them. And we can talk about that in more detail. For example, It also depends on what the era is. So, for example, in this era, I could build during the Mariner and the following era. I can build what is this thing? It's a tourist attraction. It's a tourist attraction because you found an alien artifact. So come one, come all, and look at the alien artifact, and it'll generate a little bit of production for you because people want to go out there. Millionaires probably want to go out there, and anybody can, as we know, turn into a millionaire or even a billionaire. It's just a matter of working hard and getting a little lucky. So this will be available to you if you are a millionaire or a billionaire. Biolabs can be created. You can exploit resources. That's one of my personal favorites. In the later eras, exactly. As my assistant has pointed out, later eras. You can create industry, refinery. You can do research. And as time goes on in the third era, you'll begin to potentially run into other aliens, basically.
And the spaceports do different things depending on the era.
Depending on the era, yeah. Spaceports are super handy. Shield factories can protect you against meteor storms and against pirates, because anywhere that there is capitalism, there's going to be unfortunate people who are trying to take advantage of that. Ooh. What else we got? Any ideas, assistant? I think that's about it. It's really not that hard.
So when you research, you're grabbing from cards that'll be available here or from the deck. You will...
Oh, you have a maximum... Actually, you have no maximum hand size. But in order to do research, you can't have more than 7 cards.
Right.
So that's something to keep in mind.
And then whenever you're on your base, if you want to replace this at a later time, you can put this back in your hand, or you can keep adding more, or you can replace either of these, so you have a lot of flexibility. But you can use each other's base, so if it's my turn and I really like these move 3 and I only have a move 1, I can use Brian's board, and then Brian will get to draw a card for that.
Right, from the deck, not from the sideboard.
Correct. So that's pretty cool. And then from a turn action situation.
Yeah, the very first advance to star is only in the third era. The meat of the game is conducting an action, fulfilling your contracts, hopefully, getting any rewards because people used your stuff, transporting your teams, if you're able to, discarding and replenishing any offers, and drawing up if you have less than 4 cards in your hand.
Yep.
So the actual game itself moves pretty quickly. Individual turns are pretty fast. But once you get into the second era, there's a lot more thinking involved and strategy. So turns can take a little bit longer. And the third era is definitely something we want to play for an entire evening because it's going to take probably 3 hours.
Yep. And the second era introduces
radiation.
Radiation. Boo.
Ooh.
That means that your move functions on the cards will have a little indicator that you can move through radiation. If you don't have at least one of your move cards showing radiation, then you will have to pay some serious penalties. So it becomes very hard to get out into the rest. And like from anything from here on for the rest of the game is all radiation movement. So it gets pretty dangerous out there.
Yeah, so you have to either build infrastructure that allows you to ignore it, or you hopefully can maybe get some genetic adaptations that let you survive naturally.
Or you just use up what other people build and give them lots of cards.
Yes, that's also the option too. Absolutely. And again, there is an endpoint. There's a place to leave in era 2, which sets you up with
Pluto.
Yep. It's an advantage for the third era, which we'll tackle in an upcoming video, which I like to call video 3. So that's about it. If you have any questions, do you have any questions? No questions? Okay, then great. We'll see you tonight. Adios.